Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bibbity Bobbity Books. My name is Ellie and today we're going to talk about some beautiful books. So I know they say that you shouldn't judge a book based on its cover, however I thought it'd be really fun to show off some books that I think personally are really aesthetically pleasing. I love watching other people do this video and I basically just thought it'd be a really fun excuse to talk about some books that I have on my shelves and to show a little bit of love and appreciation for some of the artwork and things that are on the cover designs and within these beautiful books. So yes, without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight in and start talking about books. So the first book that I wanted to show you is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O, and I just think this is just such a stunning cover. I really enjoy the pastel colours on there and it's so detailed. I'll try and zoom in a little bit. You can see kind of a girl here who's falling beneath the sea. They've obviously got all the sea creatures and this underwater city or something. The design goes around onto the back as well. I really enjoy how you can see these kind of sun streaks coming through the water, and I don't know if this is picking up on camera, but there are actually some kind of iridescent bubbles across the front cover here which just catch the light and just look so pretty. And then underneath the dust jacket it's very simple, it's just this gorgeous cream hardcover, and then on the spine we have this kind of pink iridescent foiling with the title of the book and kind of a pretty pattern there. So I just think this is so gorgeous and I cannot wait to read this story as well. So in this book we follow our main character Mina, and she lives in this town which is ravaged by these really terrible storms, and in an attempt to appease the sea god, her people basically sacrifice a beautiful woman every year because they believe that if the sea god finds his true bride then he will end their suffering. And the story kind of kicks off when it's the day to make this sacrifice and this beautiful woman in the town has been prepared for this event. However, Mina's brother is actually in love with this woman who's about to get sacrificed and thrown into the sea, and so he tries to kind of intervene, and I believe what happens is that Mina ends up throwing herself into the sea to save her brother, and the story takes off from there. She obviously then ends up going to the spirit world where I believe there's lots of mythical creatures and gods and things, and it just sounds so imaginative and I cannot wait to read this one. So yeah, love this book. The next book that I'm so excited to show you is this gorgeous edition of The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. So this is the 10th anniversary edition that I was kindly gifted by my dad for Christmas, which is such a special present because it's not the kind of thing that I would buy for myself because I already have the paperback, but it's so special and lovely to have this gorgeous edition because it's so stunning. Obviously we've got the gold foiling on the front there. I really enjoy how the bow looks like a heart. We've also got a lovely quote on the back, and the book also has gorgeous end papers with like gold leaf kind of design on there, and it also has one of those kind of silk ribbons to keep your place in the book, which is always really handy. So yeah, gorgeous edition of this stunning book. I'm sure you've heard of this story before. If you haven't, this is an adaptation of Homer's Iliad, and it's told from Patroclus's perspective, and it very much focuses on the relationship that's formed between Patroclus and Achilles, and we see them as they meet as young boys and as they grow up into adulthood, and we kind of follow them through the events of the Trojan War. It's incredibly beautiful and also quite heartbreaking, but yeah, gorgeous edition there that I just had to include in this video. The next book that I wanted to show you today is Daughter of the Moon Goddess, written by Su Lin Tan. So this obviously has a gorgeous floral design on there that wraps all the way round and onto the back there. We've got the giant moon, we've got the gold foiling on the title there. I don't know if that's picking up on the camera, but there's also like gold around the edge, like a little border here, which is so pretty. And yeah, underneath the dust jacket I think it's just a nice sort of forest green colour, and we've got the title and a little bit of a design there on the spine as well. And yeah, I am super excited for this one. I've heard fantastic things. It's a new release this year. It's based on Chinese mythology, and in this book we follow the daughter of the moon goddess, hence the title, who is a woman called Xing Yin, and she is basically being hidden from the celestial emperor on the moon until one day her powers flare and that causes her existence to become known, alone, and she is forced to flee her home and to flee her mother, and the story kicks off from there. That's kind of all I know really, but I think it's supposed to be really fun. It's supposed to be quite an adventure, and it says on the back here that it is a gorgeously spun romantic fantasy, which sounds fantastic. And I've heard from people that it reads kind of like a fairy tale, which is very much up my street. So yeah, I'm really hoping that this book is going to be as gorgeous within as it is on the outside. I'm sure it is, and I just cannot wait. The next book that I wanted to show you is a little bit different. It's much more gothic in its design, and that is Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. I think that the artwork on this front cover is so fantastic. It gives a really good impression of kind of what this story is about, because if you haven't heard, this is an adult vampire story. It's the first in a new series, and it's very gothic, it's very blood drenched, and yeah, I think that's just absolutely summed up with the gorgeous cover design. Underneath we have some foiling on the front cover there and along the spine, which is amazing. And what I also love about this book is that there's actually artwork throughout the actual book. So this very talented artist called Bon Orthwick illustrated this book, and it just adds to that gothic feel as you're reading this story. And I just think it's so unique and amazing to have kind of pictures in an adult book, because I feel like you don't see that very often. So yes, I had to include this on here. I just think it's absolutely stunning. Look at this. So detailed, the artwork in there. I actually uploaded a spoiler-free review video for this book, so if you're interested to hear my full thoughts and things, I will link that down below. But very briefly, this is a vampire story, and we follow our main character Gabriel, who is kind of like a vampire hunter. He is a member of what is known as the Silver Saints, and he has basically been captured, and he's being forced to tell his story to a vampire. And we have several different flashbacks in here. We see his kind of origin story, and we also see him a little bit older as well, and he's much more of a kind of jaded, reluctant hero type character, and he's basically trying to find a way to end days of death, because in this world the sun doesn't shine fully, and that is why vampires and kind of these dark creatures can roam the earth throughout the day, and there is this ongoing war between vampires and humanity. Whilst we are talking about J. Kristoff, I had to include the Nevernight trilogy, which is a series that I haven't actually read yet. It's a fantasy series. I believe it's adult or new adult, and I have the US editions, the hardbacks, because I just think these are so cool. I really enjoy how gothic the cover designs are on here, and yeah, I just think it is stunning. I really enjoy this. So this is the first book, Nevernight. We've then got this second book, God's Grave, which is very similar in design, and then the final book is actually a lot darker, and that's called Dark Dawn, and I just really enjoy that. It's so cool. And if you look at the detail on here, the smoke has like animals coming out of it. It is just so cool. I just really enjoy these books all together. Obviously I haven't quite gotten around to reading these ones yet, so I'm not 100% sure on the plot line of these books, but I do know that we follow a assassin called Mia, and I believe it's kind of like a Japanese steampunk type vibe in these books. Yes, it says on the back here that you've got a Japanese steampunk novel with mythic creatures, civil unrest, and a strong female protagonist. I don't need to know anymore. That sounds absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to get to these ones. And yeah, what gorgeous covers. Actually, the UK editions of these are also equally stunning. I had a hard time choosing between the two, but there's just something about these US editions that just drew me in. They're just so gothic and just so cool. I love them. The next book that I want to show you is a little bit more simplistic in its cover design, and I just think it looks absolutely stunning. So this one is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is a standalone fantasy book, and yeah, there's just something so sleek about this cover design. This is obviously the UK paperback, and I just really enjoy how it's mostly kind of cream and black, but we have that little pop of red there with the rose. and I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but there is actually some kind of subtle gold foiling there on the front, which just gives it a little bit of something special. And yeah, I just really enjoy this cover. I think it's so beautiful. I also really enjoyed this book. I read this a couple of years back in Halloween time, and it was perfect for that because it's a little bit dark, it's a little bit twisty. If you haven't heard of this one before, it's a standalone fantasy, and it's based on Slavic folklore and fairy tales. And we basically follow our main character Agnieszka, who lives in this village which is bordered by this evil forest, or this evil woods. And there's also this wizard who lives near the village, who is known as the Dragon, and he protects the villagers from the evils of the woods, and all he asks for in return is for one woman to come and stay with him for a year. And of course, much to everybody's surprise, it's actually Agnieszka that ends up having to go and live with the dragon, and the story takes off from there. So yeah, it kind of has a little bit of that kind of Beauty and the Beast feel, because we've obviously got Agnieszka having to leave her village and go and live in this isolated tower with this dragon character. However, this book has much more of a focus on defeating the evils of the forest, which I really enjoyed. I love anything with a creepy woodland setting, so I was already sold, and I thought this had some really beautiful descriptions in there and some gorgeous scenes, and really thoroughly enjoyed it. However, I do know that this is a bit of a Marmite book. Some people really don't like this one. I think because the dragon character is a little bit grumpy, and not everybody likes that dynamic between him and Agnieszka, and also because I think this has a very fluffy magic system. So if you're the kind of person that likes a really hard, structured, well explained magic system, you're probably not going to get on with this one, because this is very much a magic happens type book, if you know what I mean. The next book that I have to show you is a horror book, and that is Mexican Gothic, written by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I just think there's something about the color palette of this book that just really draws me in. I love the vivid green against the kind of purpley maroony color of this woman's dress, and if I just hold it closer, you can see the design of the wallpaper on the back here. It's just stunning. She's holding these like dried flowers. The kind of wallpaper Gothic design continues onto the back there as well. I don't think there's anything under the dust jacket of this one. It's just a kind of pretty purpley color. So yeah, I just think this is a really stunning cover, although I do think it's a little bit deceiving, because you could mistake that for a kind of historical romance book, and that's definitely not what this is. This is definitely a Gothic horror book, and yeah, I had a really fun time with this one actually. So in this book we follow our main character Noemi. It's set in 1950 Mexico, and the story takes off when she receives this letter from her cousin, who has recently married her new husband and moved in with him and his family. And the letter that Noemi receives is pretty strange. Her cousin makes some pretty wild accusations about her husband and her situation, and so Noemi decides to go and visit her cousin to make sure that she's okay, basically, and to check in on her. And the whole of this book essentially takes place in this Gothic mansion where Noemi's cousin lives with her new husband and his family. And that's kind of all I really want to say, really, because I don't want to give anything away, but it gets pretty scary. It has that haunted mansion type feel to it, down to a T, and it gets quite wild. Yeah, I had a really fun time with this one, and I just think this is just such a striking cover. Okay, so the next books that I wanted to talk to you about are all from a middle grade series, possibly my favorite ever middle grade series, and that is Nevermoor by Jessica Townsend. So I've got the first 3 books here. Sadly, the first book is missing its dust jacket because I got this second hand, but you can see the naked hardcover of this book is just so stunning. It's got these kind of creepy wolf like shadow figures on there and little pops of gold that just catch the light. It's so magical and so unique, and all of her books have these gorgeous like designs on the actual naked hardcover. So if we look at this one, which is the second book, firstly, the dust jacket is stunning. It's so fun. I really enjoy how bright and bold it is, and we've got the shimmery gold bits on there as well. But underneath the dust jacket, I really enjoy the way that this looks. And then the third book, Hollow Pox, is this really fun green colour on the dust jacket. Gorgeous, gorgeous, fun design on the outside. And then hidden beneath we have the amazing hardcover. I think this one's probably my favourite. I really enjoy this one. It's like a purple building. It's so cool. And we've got the kind of pops of orange. It's just really fun. I love these books. I love the way they look, and I also just love the story as well. As I said before, this is one of my favorite middle grade series ever, and I think it's the kind of middle grade series that anyone can read, even if you don't normally read middle grade. So if you haven't heard of this series before, in this book we follow our main character Morrigan Crow, and she is actually believed by everyone in her village to be cursed because she was born on this really unlucky day called Eventide, and she is basically destined to die at midnight on her 11th birthday because she is a cursed child. However, she does end up getting rescued by this eccentric character called Jupiter North, who whisks her off to this magical world called Nevermoor, and he enters her into a series of trials to win a place in something called the Wondrous Society, which is kind of like this elite organization for magically gifted children. And the story goes on from there. It's so fun, it's so creative. I really enjoy all the characters in it, and just the world itself is so magical, and yeah, I really enjoy it and cannot wait to get my hands on the next book, which is coming out later this year. The next book that I want to show you is a self-published book, and it's called Fortuna Swan, written by KJ Sutton. This is just so stunning to me. I really enjoy the kind of dusky pink colour alongside the mossy greens. We've obviously got that beautiful character on the front there with the birds and everything. The design wraps around onto the back, so we've got kind of this eerie misty forest design on the back there, and I just think this is so gorgeous. So this is the first book in a very dark adult fantasy romance series. I believe there's 4 books out now in this series, and all of the covers are equally stunning. And yeah, I've only read this first one. I did actually film a review video for this book, so if you're interested to hear my thoughts, I will link that down below. But essentially we follow our main character Fortuna, who is a nightmare, which is a kind of fantasy race, and her gift is that she can sense your biggest fears and she can convince you that your fears are real. So that's kind of how her powers work, and she believes that she is the last of her kind left in this world because her brother went missing a long time ago. However, the story kicks off when this fae male shows up and tells her that he knows where her brother is and that he will help her find her brother if she strikes a deal with him and if she follows him into the Unseelie Court, which is where most of this book takes place. So yeah, gorgeous cover. The next few books I have to show you are kind of honourable mentions really. This one that I've got here is actually something that I got my partner as a present, and that is this gorgeous bind up of H.P. Lovecraft's stories. This is so stunning. It's this gorgeous hardcover. I really enjoy the artwork on the front here, the gorgeous purple and blue design. The spine is stunning. And yeah, this is just gorgeous. It's also got silver gilded edges, which is so posh looking, and we've got one of those ribbon things, and there is also some cool artwork on the end pages as well. I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but yeah, this is such a gorgeous book. I haven't actually read any of H.P. Lovecraft's stories, but I do know that obviously my partner really enjoys his works. Obviously H.P. Lovecraft is kind of like the godfather of the cosmic horror genre really. He's been hugely influential in kind of sci-fi horror genre. I know a lot of horror movies and things have been heavily influenced by his works, and his works have also been adapted numerous times. And yeah, I do think that I will have a flick through of some of his stories at some point, probably when it gets to Halloween if I'm craving some horror or something a little bit different. But yeah, this is just an absolutely stunning edition that I had to include in this video. So the final 2 books that I have to show you are actually ones that I found in the charity shop literally just a couple of days ago, and they were only £1.50 each, which I think is such a steal for such beautiful books. So these are the books. So the first one is Spells and Bindings, and then the second one is Dwarfs. So firstly, these covers are stunning. It doesn't actually say who the author is, it just says that it's edited by Time Life Books. But the reason why I wanted to include these is because the artwork in these books is so stunning. So this is from the Spells and Bindings book. Beautiful artwork on there, and we've got some double page spreads as well, and some of these illustrations are actually quite dark and scary. So yeah, obviously we've got the Spells and Bindings one, and then the dwarf one is also very cool inside. It's just honestly one of some of the most beautiful pieces of art that I've seen in a book for a long time. This dwarf one actually had a piece of paper in it as well. It's obviously from the previous owner of the book, who has like written something, which I just love finding in books, you know, if you pick them up from the charity shop or something. So it looks here like someone, oh, nearly spilt the book over. So someone's written something here. It looks like they've done a like design of a sword with like elfish writing on it, which is kind of cool. So if you are the owner of this piece of work, please let me know, because that would be really funny and really cool to kind of connect with you if you happen to stumble across this video. But yeah, there was also this piece of writing as well, which looks like a fantasy language on there. Looks like Elvish or something. If anyone can tell what this is, let me know, because I'd love to know. But anyway, that was a bit of a random end to this video, but I really hope that you enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed filming it. Please let me know if you've read any of these books before, and let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments, or let me know if you're now thinking of picking up any of these books after watching this video, or if you're not really sure what to comment down below and you just want to let me know that you're there. Please do drop me just a little heart emoji, that would be really sweet. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next time with another video. Bye!